I'd like to introduce to kick us off Rick Estenson, who is a vice president of Merchants Bank in Northfield. And he's part of our Rotary Climate Action team and was the chair for the project that we're going to be talking about. So Rick, if you want to unmute.
Thank you. Yep. Thank you, Alan. And so as you can see from this slide, we're a town about 45 minutes south of the airport in Minneapolis, St. Paul. We have about 20,000 people in 2 liberal arts colleges. You see us there in the middle of summer. It looks a lot different in wintertime. But back to the way we formed, about every 5 or 6 years as a club, we've had a strategic planning session. And in that long range planning in 2017, it was revealed that one of our top priorities was really around the environment and climate action. And as a result, we have 130 members for a town our size, which is pretty good. We were very active, but from that we formed a Rotary climate action team, and we had the word action in there on purpose. And it started with just 3 people, but now we have 18, and we met quite regularly. But one of the first things we did was we made a climate education presentation to our club and spouses and some other friends of Rotary, and a wine and cheese sort of climate social, just to begin understanding and explaining why we thought Rotary was special to do that. And then from that, we began looking at a good climate project. Alan?
Thank you, Rick. And we'll, technology. So for whatever the reason, there we go. So a little bit of background. We decided to do an EV charging station because we have some background and rationale. We wanted to do a project that would increase community awareness about electric vehicles, attract EV owners to our downtown area, especially out of towners, and be a visible show of Rotary support for the transition to EVs. And some of you may know that transportation, especially cars and light trucks, are the #1 source of CO2 emissions in Minnesota. So we thought we would tackle it from that aspect. And then GM, Ford, and many other major car manufacturers are planning to bring dozens of new electric vehicles, SUVs, and light trucks to market in the next 5 years. So if that's true, then there are challenges. We have to have people want to buy electric vehicles. And if you have been an electric vehicle shopper yourself or bought one, you probably experienced initial range anxiety. How far will my EV go? And where can I get it recharged? And so to get more EVs on the road, buyers need to see a growing network of charging stations. And if communities want EV drivers, and we hope that there's going to be an ever-growing number and percentage of cars on the road that are EV, if we want EV drivers to come to our towns, the town needs to have EV stations. So we figured 2 + 2 is 4. Our RCAT decided that we would install EV charging stations in our community. And as we did that, we also thought that our particular club is really well known and well respected in our community. And so with a Rotary logo on these charging stations, we thought it would give extra weight and give people pause to really think about what it is Rotary is trying to do. And Rick?
Yeah, and we first went out to the business community here, hoping that business owner would jump in and see this as an opportunity, since we were going to provide what we thought was about half of it to put one in. We found out it was a little premature for the business owner to do it, but we found a very agreeable partner in our city, and our city became very easy to work with on this thing. So we installed and really when you think about it, it's a pole that accesses electricity. There are three different types of charging stations: level 1, 2, and 3. We went with the second level after much research, and we also landed on a partner in ChargePoint as the one that we thought was the best one for our area. So we did a fair amount of work, and the city assisted us with that. At the end of the day, they put in some of that same amount of money in bringing electricity to this spot, a little cement work, but they own and maintain the station, and they collect the parking recharge fees, and it turned out to be a ribbon cutting in 2019. Um, Next slide, maybe, Alan. The the reception was good for it. Of course, 2019 was a little different than 2020, as we all know. But just the same, we saw a lot of out of town cars there, out of state cars, and there was a pretty good for early part of this project, pretty good recognition that this was receiving good feedback. And so as we took that year of 2020 and realized that there wasn't a lot of activity happening, we thought maybe the city would be interested in doing it again with us in another location, and that's exactly what we did. With positive feedback from the community and the city officials and staff helping us greatly, we found another location in our downtown. This one we applied 9,000, and they had to do a little less, but it worked out very well. Um, and there'll be a picture coming up on the next slide of the ribbon cutting of that one during a COVID era. But that's our story, and our next effort is going to be, we think, promoting EVs via an EV car show. People love car shows, and there's a lot of education that can happen at this. So we're working to put one on perhaps later this year, or it might end up being early next. But that's and I think the next slide is just a picture, Alan, of our ribbon cutting with our mayor and our current president.
There we go.
Yeah. And Rick in the background.
And me in the background with a visor.
So we'd like to provide some contact information if your club is interested in getting a bite on a small local project. You can contact Rick or myself or the city employee who is the coordinator for this, and also a Rotarian, Beth Callistad. And I do want to point out that on the EV charging station there, you can see the City of Northfield logo and also our Rotary logo. And that gets people to really think about why would Rotary be promoting this? And it gives us a chance to tell people what we're doing and why. And with that, I will kick it back to John for kind of round robin questions.